Hello, everybody. Welcome to another edition of the Illuminate Africa podcast. And this is your host, Ochu Williams. And I would like to say a happy new year to all of you once again this year. Welcome to 2025, a year that promises so much positivity for young entrepreneurs who are always active and looking forward to impacting lives on the African continent. This is another edition of Hard Talk Today, that part of the podcast where we dissect, unravel big and excavate issues that are pertaining and are hindering the growth of entrepreneurship efforts in Africa. And today's topic will see us focus on digital education. Recently, Africa experiences a tech boom, and our tech is seen as the major driving force of the 21st century economy, being able to provide lots of employment opportunities for the young and youthful African workforce. With me here today is someone who has actively and painstakingly invested in the tech education space. Right from when I first met her and from when we've started conversing, she has always been active and always been passionate about inculcating tech values in the lives of young Nigerians, enabling them to go on to live a beautiful career in the tech world. With me here today is Annie Esang, a young, passionate, beautiful tech educator who has gone diverse lengths of this country, participated at various events, and is a well-known name when it comes to educating young people in tech. She runs her own startup known as Cloud with an Academy, where she has consistently impacted cloud engineering education to the lives of young Nigerians. Hello, Annie Esang. How are you today?
Hello, Williams. I'm doing very much amazing. And how are you doing today, too?
Yeah, I'm doing very fine. I had to dig deep to give that introduction about you. It wasn't easy, digging up facts and facts and facts. Although it was a little bit easy because I've known you for some time and I've known your passion. You're so
Yeah,
passionate about education, so passionate about the next generation, always passionate about sharing the little knowledge that you have and extending it to others. That's something which I always use to attach myself to you. Anytime I think about education, I'll be like, oh, there is a cloud with an academy. Anytime I think about education, oh, there's a young Annie Sang out there trying to educate people.
awesome.
And that is what I really do like about you. Don't worry if the praises seem too much. It's never too much for me. It's never too much for the work that you do. So I'm so glad I could bring you here for you to share your stories, talk with people, educate them, enlighten them on the digital education space in Nigeria and the role you are playing in that space. So I would like to start by asking you, Annie Sang, who actually is Annie Sang?
All right. Thank you very much once again, Ochu Williams. And I'm so pleased to be on today's podcast. And I really love what you're doing. And most importantly, I'm always glad when I'm provided with the opportunity to speak to young people out there, especially Africans, because I know the value that Africans have and how much we can give out. All right, so not to talk so much because you've already said a lot about me, but I'm just going to tell everybody briefly who Anne Usang is. So, Anne Usang, I would like to refer to myself as a digital educator. Basically, I love to teach. And what exactly do I love to teach? I love to teach across various areas, but one particular field where I'm focused on currently is cloud computing, and I'm an AWS certified cloud solutions architect, and I'm also an AWS certified cloud practitioner. And currently, I'm a cloud instructor at New Cloud Technologies. And also, when I was in school, I served as the AWS Cloud Club captain for a student community in school where I was able to educate students and bring them up to speed on what cloud computing is about. And moving on, currently, I'm the founder of Cloud with an academy that was born out of passion to seeing more young Africans learn about cloud computing, gain relevant skills in the field, be able to build solutions that will aid Africa as a whole. And once again, I'm glad to be on this podcast today, and I hope that we have a great time together. Thank you so much.
Wow, thank you so much. This is the beautiful thing with educated people. They are so educated and they are so professional. They always follow protocols. You don't need to always tell me thank you when you're done speaking, but thank you for that. So,
I'll try.
one thing that was reoccurring in your speech was AWS. AWS. You've served as AWS Cloud Club Manager. You are active in the AWS like ecosystem. Why? What impact would you say like the responsibilities that you have those positions of responsibility that you have held within the AWS ecosystem in Nigeria? How has it shaped you into who you are today?
All right. So very much when I was in school, that was not so long ago anyways. I think that was 2022. Yes, 2022 February was when I first had that opportunity to handle any position that was offered by AWS, though volunteer role. Yes, it wasn't like I was working for AWS, right? But the student community in AWS, that was when I first took on that role to being the AWS Cloud Club captain. And from there, I was able to move to volunteering in the community in one of the AWS user groups. That's the AWS Cloud Security User Group West Africa. And from there, I was able to see that my my understanding, first of all, of leadership became strengthened. And another thing that this has helped me become is that I've been able to understand people better. So I'm not coming from the technical aspect of it, because definitely in the course of doing all of this, I had to learn. I had to learn the technical aspects of things. I had to understand what AWS is about, different services AWS offers. I had to learn the fundamentals of cloud computing with AWS. So, aside this technical knowledge that these platforms have given to me, it has also helped me to become better in breaking down technical concepts to people in the simplest way they can understand. It has it has enabled my communication to be better, because I always have that opportunity given to me to talk to people, to talk to students, to talk to different people across different stages of life. So it has enabled my communication to be better. My leadership, my team management also has improved. Actually, if I want to think about how I was before and how I am today, I would say that there's been some level of growth. And doing all of this has even brought me some awards, and one of which is the AWS Certified Cloud Clubs Instructor, and also the Community Awards. So this has helped me, shaped my mind to understand that you need to be somebody who is community driven. You need to be somebody who is empathetic as well, understanding that people also have something to learn. People need to learn something, and if you have something, you give them what you also have, right? And yeah, basically, let me stop there.
That was why did you choose to stop? It was okay. You can always use as much time as you want. Don't worry, it's your day. We have time for you. But there is something your last statement covered. You said as a teacher, you give to them. You know, and there's this verse or there's this popular saying that they say, "Givers never lack." Right? So, as a teacher, as an educator, as you are giving, do you agree with that statement that says you get back? If you get back, how do you get back what you are giving? Like, make it make sense.
Okay, so let me say a little story, something that happened to me when I was much younger. And
Okay.
well, I'm still very young, but something that happened to me when I was I think around 16, 17. So I remember giving out my clothes, right? So whenever I'm having holidays or it's the holiday period and I'm home, I'll usually pack my clothes together, the clothes that I'm still wearing, but then I feel like, okay, I should give them out. I'll gather them together, put them in the bag, and give them out. There was a particular period where I gave out, I think, more than half of my clothes. right? And then I could literally count the clothes that I could wear to go to church or the clothes I could wear to go out. I could literally count them. And one of those days I sat down and I started crying. Why was I crying? It was because there was a particular Sunday I wanted to go to church, and I'm like, I wore this particular clothes the upper week Sunday. I wore this one 3 Sundays ago. I wore this one the last Sunday. Which one do I now wear to church today? So it felt like I had clothes, but they became so small and I didn't have enough to wear. And I asked myself a question, and you have just given out a good chunk of your clothes. How do I get it back? And I started crying because I didn't have clothes to wear. And it made me understand that the fact that you give shouldn't put you in that position to say, I want to receive. I am giving because I want to receive. Fine and good,
Mm.
opportunities will arise for you to actually receive. But position your mind that I am not giving so that I can receive from somebody. And there's something that people often say, you may give to somebody, but don't expect that same person to give back to you. That was something I
Mm.
didn't understand then. But then, as I continued growing, I began to learn these different things because I've come in contact with different people whereby I give something and I expect that they give me back. But they're those people that you gave to are the ones that will even hurt you. So it shaped my mind to know that, and when you're giving out, don't even think of receiving back. Either it's
Wow.
from those people or even from other people, don't think of receiving back. So whenever I give, whenever I teach, for example, my academy currently, Cloud with an Academy, we've been we've run one cohort and it was completely free and it was for 3 months. We ran
Wow.
that cohort, we had instructors, we had mentors, we had different things to pay for. But then where was all of it coming from? It was coming from my pocket. Right. Were there times that I thought about it that, okay, this value I'm giving out to people, would they really value it? Yes, I thought about it. But at the same time, I said to myself, Anne, whatever you're doing is for a good cause. Don't expect anything in return. It may come, it may not come. It's a 50-50. But then, have beautiful things happened in the course of that? Yes. But did I put my mind that, oh, something must come the next day? No, I didn't. I just stayed put to the goal. I stayed put to being a person of value. I stayed put to teaching people for free. I stayed put to doing all those things, knowing that maybe much later in life, who knows? Who knows where? Who knows how? Something can come back to you, but then my mind is not fixated on the fact that these same people are the same people I will get back from. I don't know if that makes sense.
Wow. I asked you for a little subtopic and you ended up educating me. You see, you're just a teacher. You just find it's so natural for you just to teach. But there's one thing I would like to chip into that, what you said. Very beautiful point. But one thing I know about life is that givers never lack. And I'm indeed a testament of that. You give
Absolutely.
out whatever you give, whether financial or intellectual and whatsoever. But the truth is that you going through that process to give out whatever you are giving out is a way of you receiving. How you receive, you do not know because, of course, we are humans. But at the end of the
Right.
day, it gives you a lot of fulfillment, to give something out, to sit down, to run an academy, to teach people, to make sure they understand, to see these people go on to become impactful people in the society. That sense
Mm-hmm.
of fulfillment, nothing else, money cannot give. So
True.
I'm so proud of you for what you do. But let's flip side back now. Let's talk about digital education in Nigeria. You know, from your own perspective, how would you describe the digital education space in Nigeria? Because the tech era is here now, and tech is responsible for creating lots and lots of jobs. And one thing with tech jobs is that at least it elevates people. It's good paying jobs, so it elevates people and makes them middle class. And from what I understand by the economy is that the more the middle class, the better the economy, the higher the purchasing power of the people. and the more money for everybody and the government and taxes and whatsoever. But let's look at Nigerians' digital education space. There are lots of tech courses flying up and down. How would you describe you are in that sector, you teach physically as full-time job, you run your own. So how is that space for you?
Digital education space is actually a field that is rapidly growing. We are having every day, we are hearing about new courses, new bodies are coming on board, organizing trainings across different fields, be it front end, software development, back end, data analysis. A lot is actually happening. We even have free courses out there. We have courses on Coursera, we have Udemy, we even have YouTube, right? So the digital education sector is one that is growing. It's growing really rapidly. And one thing that I'm really happy to see is that a lot of Africans are the ones plunging into creating these systems that enable people to be digitally educated. um when I was part of during my NYSC year, my CDS, yes, that's Community Development Service, one of the things we did was that in partnership with NITDA, one of the things we did was that we went out for what was called Digital Literacy for All. So this is a movement that NITDA is pushing, ensuring that digital literacy reaches people. And it was beautiful to know that we did not take this digital literacy to maybe a school. We actually took it to the market. So we went to the market and we were there educating people on what they need to know about the digital sector, how it can help them in their business, how it can help them grow their business. So we took this to the marketplace. So currently the digital education sector is something that is really growing, and it's really growing fast. But one thing I want to say is that in as much as this is happening, Africans should actually leverage on it, because there are more than 1,000 opportunities out there for anyone to learn a tech skill. So, gone are those days where we say there are no schools. There are schools, right? But then have you been able to identify these schools? So a lot of things are going on in the digital education sector. A lot of beautiful things are going on there. And this field is something that is growing rapidly, and a lot of people are engaging in it and creating systems in this field.
Wow. Kudos, like I would love to say kudos to all those people who are actively like involved in that in the digital education space. Whether you are educating for front end, back end, project management, even educating for startups, creating accelerator programs, it's all still under that umbrella of digital education. And there are lots of there are pioneers in that sector, the likes of Andela, and then there are also notable mentions in that digital education space, like old
Yeah,
school, that they have helped so much. Their impact has been well like felt. But also even the government is also active in that space now through courses from
so,
NIDA, and then the minister recently launched a 3MTT program, trying to
yeah,
educate a lot of people in different, I think in every village in Nigeria. I don't know how that's going to be possible in northern Nigeria, right? But at least for the part of the country where they can cover, it's a very good initiative. But there's this other
yeah,
bias that the non-tech people see. They say tech is not the one to solve all the problems. We agree. I do agree with that. But the impact of tech can be felt by me. But some people argue that okay, people are not learning tech to really help our economy.
mm,
Most people are learning tech so that they can get remote jobs. Most people are learning tech so that because they have that notion that it will lift them out of, maybe to give them generational wealth. But either directly or indirectly, the impact is being felt. You know, After learning a tech skill, you get to work for a remote company. Although people have said it's more of neocolonialism, it's cheap labor. Because why do they need to pay developers higher salaries in the western part of the world when they can always come to Africa? People say it's another form of slavery, but we need the money, right? We need the foreign exchange.
right.
So either formally or informally, we're gonna get it. It could be like that, but the truth is that foreign exchange does come in. And tech has also helped. like lots of like Africans who are talented uh, go to the diaspora. Although people say it's brain drain, but it can't. You can't always see it like that. Some people will have to go to bring value back. That's how development occurs. So I
Mm-hmm.
stand for the perspective that you know it has helped a lot. I don't know what's your perspective. So let me ask the perspective of an educator. So what's your perspective on that?
Okay, so I actually agree with you that there's been some level of impact that tech has, even though a lot of people, myself, right? I'm one of those people that are already thinking that, okay, I would love to get a cloud role that is remote, something that is not in Nigeria, right? However, in as much as I'm thinking that way, I'm also thinking that whatever I'm doing, I still have a part to play in being part of solving the problems in Africa, right? So there are a lot of jobs out there. There are a lot of tech jobs out there, right? And different people have plunged in and they've gotten those opportunities. Even though I know that there's still a need for Africa, for Nigeria to have more opportunities in the technical sector. And I'm going to speak specifically for my field, that is cloud computing, right? My field is one of those fields that are not yet very much prevalent in Nigeria or in Africa. Yes, it's actually something that few people know about cloud computing, but it's not compared to something like saying data analysis. Anybody, you can stop somebody on the road and say, have you heard of data analysis? And then they'll say, oh yes. But ask somebody, have you heard of cloud computing? The percentage of people that would say they've heard of it is very small. And we've not experienced so much of the job opportunity there in the Nigerian market, right? Be it jobs, be it internships, it has not fully come in for an area like cloud computing. So maybe you would have to forgive me when I say, yes, I'm looking for the job that is not Nigerian based, right? But generally speaking, there are many opportunities in tech to thrive. There are many opportunities for those people in data analysis, in software engineering. Not that I'm promoting those skills, but then those are good skills to still learn and you still have the opportunity to earn even here in Nigeria, right? So opportunities are out there. And one thing I want to say is that one thing I've seen in the Nigerian sector is that most of these opportunities that come out there, they come and it's more like the companies are not, they don't really understand what they are looking for. For example, being a young person, there was something I saw that was about 2 days ago. I saw a particular job description. And what did the job description say? They were looking for somebody who has 24 years of experience in using AWS technologies. And I
Wait,
was
24.
I
So AWS
was
is how many years old?
24. AWS, like to be honest, I was like, what's happening here? AWS launched in 2006 and you are looking for 24 years. I'm like, it's
That's a
this math
Nigerian
is
job
not adding.
posting.
It was a Nigerian job posting.
Yeah,
I'm
the
like,
HR
the
needs to be
math is
sacked.
not adding. And when you come and look at the what's it called now, the amount that they are going to offer you, you see something like 100,000. And then they are looking for people who can do DevOps, CI/CD, Kubernetes, Ansible, and like all of these things back together. So in my head, I'm like, opportunities are there, but can these opportunities, can we have more opportunities knowing that the employer or the company has his or her employees in mind, right? So learning tech is not something that comes at a very cheap cost. Learning tech most of the time comes with a lot of stress, financial stress inside of it. So when employers bring opportunities, okay, make those opportunities good enough for young people, because young people also want to thrive, right? But then there are opportunities, and those opportunities, as many or as much as people see, please go for them. Most times it's not even you might think I'm contradicting myself, but then most times you don't have to look at what the pay is, especially if you're a beginner. let me say it again, especially if you're a beginner, so they don't drag me. But if you're a beginner, you don't have to look at, okay, the pay is 150 or the pay is 120. What you're after as a beginner is gaining the experience. So if you find an opportunity in Nigeria, please go for it. While you're doing that, you would have more opportunities come, be it outside Nigeria, but more opportunities to come for you to actually expand and learn even further and earn bigger. So yeah.
Wow, nice perspective. So nice perspective. But well, you touched on something that is very delicate. The earning potential. The amount of money being paid as remuneration to these tech talents in Nigeria. You know, it's a very delicate matter because there's a bias to it. The Nigerian economy and the foreign economy are not the same, so salary structures differ. But yet still, there is an expected cap for what the salary should be in Nigeria. So when you see companies or employees not offering up to that, and you begin to wonder, even if the startup is bootstrapping, there's a way they can communicate that. But I don't want to get into that topic, although I don't want to be dragged also. But I see it from a point of an employee, and I also see it from a point of an employer of labor. So it's delicate, but there are minimum wage
Mm,
caps. Make sure you don't go like below that. And then when you do have that, try to treat people, and pay them well, because learning those tech skills, there are challenges in those sectors, and that's what we're going to talk about next. There are challenges in those sectors, and there are also challenges people pass through to learn those skills. It's not easy. Most of those skills are
right.
they are expensive to learn. Some of them cost higher than the cost of tertiary education in Nigeria. Shout out to people like Old School who
True.
are helping subsidize those kind of learning. But those skills, they
Yeah,
are
yeah, let's.
financially like they're financially impounding to learn. They also take a lot of mental consistency and discipline, and they also take a lot of body and like body pain and stress, because you have to sit down in one place to be able to learn these things. And then these are the challenges. Also, acquisition of gadgets, not expensive. Most gadgets in Nigeria are like imported, and the exchange rate has exposed the Nigerian economy. These are the little challenges I've seen in those sectors. You know, so when employers of labor, it's not it's not greediness for those tech talents to expect a high pay, because they know what they know. You learn a tech skill 6 7 months, and you are more valuable than somebody who spent 6 years in the university reading something that there is no application in today's world. So these are the challenges I see in the sector. And I also like to ask, throughout your time educating people, what are the challenges you have seen in like administering tech education to people?
All right. So one of the challenges that I've actually seen is, first of all, lack of clarity. A
Wow.
lot of people are they are surrounded with so much around them, and they are not sure what they want to do. So you can find somebody who starts something, and in 2 weeks the person is already out. Why? Oh, I don't think that's what I want to do. Person goes to another thing. 1 month, the person is out, goes to another thing. So it's more like they're moving around circles. So there's been that lack of clarity that I have seen most people have, because I've seen people that have come, they have learned, being privileged to be an instructor, right, at New Cloud Technologies as well. I've met a lot of people who have come, they have learned, and then they've not applied it. And even in Cloud with Anne, when we started this first cohort, we had people who came, and in the course of learning for about a week, they actually dropped out. And then one of them said it's not something that she wants to do, and she thinks she would rather want to do another thing. And I'm like, okay, fine, no problem, because I was once there. I remember moving around circles until I finally said, okay, I am settling down in cloud computing. And that's where I've been so far for close to 2 years now. And another thing I've seen is power. That is the light situation, right? I've had people
That's
who have,
that's a national burden.
Yes, so
It's
actually,
a national challenge. It's a national challenge.
I've had people who were not able to actually go on at the pace they wanted to go on because, oh, maybe their devices were not charged up, so they couldn't attend classes online, they couldn't follow in a certain activity. Why? Because there was no power for their gadget. And something else is the high cost of data. That one is
Wow.
it's something on its own, right? The high cost of data too is something that I've seen as a challenge with different people, because imagine you're paying for something, you pay for a particular course, you come again, you start the course, and then you have to attend classes. When you're attending classes, that's data going. So most times people are not able to stay to the end because of this high cost of data. They're not able to continue, probably because maybe they are just students, or maybe because they don't have any other source of income that is bringing in money. So most of those things have made people to withdraw a little. And I've had conversations with people and I'm saying, why have you not started learning a tech skill? And they're like, ah, I will start. What is the problem? I don't have a source of income. I don't have a laptop. I don't have a gadget. But in as much as those challenges are there, I still tell people, if you want to start, start. You may not have it all perfect. You may not have the laptop. You may not have the money for the data, but just register for that course. You don't know what will happen when you register. I remember I think there was a time when I was to register for a course, but the course was over, I think it was over 200 and something thousand naira. But I didn't have that money at that time to register for that course. And then I told myself, okay, Anne, I'm still going to register for it. Since the payment was not going to be exactly when you register, I said I'll register for it. And in the course of it, scholarship opportunities came, and I was able to leverage on the scholarship opportunity, and it was slashed by a certain amount, and then I was able to pay up the rest. So you may not know what is ahead of you, so don't limit yourself already from saying that opportunity came and you don't want to learn. Go for it. Start with a mobile phone. From there you can use, like I told somebody that registered a McLeod an academy, he didn't have a laptop, and I told him, you don't have a laptop, but I can see that you are committed to learning. I can see that you're very dedicated to learn. Why don't you get someone's laptop that you can use? When it's time for class, okay, you know the class days. When it's the class days, get the person's laptop, use it for 2 hours, use it for 1 hour, go back, work on a project, return the laptop. Even though I know that that's not very easy, right? But then try something. And he tried. He actually tried. He was using somebody's laptop and he was making progress, even though he actually, sadly, he couldn't stay till the end of the 3 months, because at that time the person really needed his laptop. But then I won't excuse the fact that he tried. So to every young person out there, there are a lot of challenges in Africa that may limit your digital education learning or learning a tech skill. But don't stop at where those challenges stop you. Move past them. That's when you can say, oh yes, I'm a victor, I'm a conqueror, right? You have moved past those challenges and you are willing to make sacrifices to ensure that you're learning this tech skill.
Wow,
Yeah,
nice take
over
there,
to
nice
you,
take. But
James.
let me chip in something. That resilience. Especially when you find that particular thing you want to do. The most successful people are the ones who are resilient and never give up. You know, there's this statement that says necessity is the mother of invention. It implies that no matter how difficult something is, if you really need it, you find a way to get it. So I would just like to share a story about that. When I was still young, growing up. Oh, I'm still young, Sha. When I was in the early days of my career, I started from the networking field. When I was learning networking. I remember when I had to try, like, go for classes, and then I didn't have laptop and I had to practice. That was when I knew that you could remotely control a computer without having been there. So I remember I used to use my phone, then use a USB keyboard and a USB mouse through OTG, and then log into the office computer and be practicing CCNA. I remember those crazy days. They were wild, but those were solutions that came out of ingenuity. I just had to find a way. to do it. And I also remember there were times when I was coding and I didn't have an access to laptops close to me, and then power was an issue, a national issue, which is still a national issue, and power was an issue. So I had to use my phone to code. However, there was no IDE on my phone then, so I will use my phone and remotely connect to VS Code servers. People will launch VS Code servers for me, and I'll use my phone and remotely connect and be running those codes. So those difficult situations has a way of bringing out your intellectual capacity, and that's how life has been for us here in Africa.
Mm-hmm.
Those challenges we face, it just has a way of clicking. They say African entrepreneurs are entrepreneurs by necessity, not by choice. It's their condition that made them go into those things, and I think that's one of the most uh, remarkable traits of survivors or entrepreneurs in Africa. So that was just a little story I just had to share to inspire someone who is out there. Stop complaining and say, "Oh, I can't do it. I don't have this. I don't have that." No, no, no. There's no need. When you know that you really have that pain, you'll find a solution. It's just the same way they say, hunger is the best motivational advice. When you're hungry, nobody needs to tell you how to find food to eat. So that's just that. But that's great. Our time is almost up, and we would like to have you maybe some other time. But before you go, I would just like to hear from you. Like, what is your impact? As an educator. What drives you? As an educator, where you work as an educator, who runs her own startup. What is your impact, and how are you navigating your own space and making sure that what you want to do, you get it out there and you get to see value in it.
Okay, there's this thing that that is being said. You got to do what you got to do, right? So
Yeah, of course you have to.
so sure. All right. So you made mention of what is my drive. I think you said something like that. So
Yeah,
basically, my drive is just seeing that young people are becoming solution providers. Young people are not just sitting on the fence and waiting to be fed, but then they are becoming people that are going out there and are solving problems. This is something that keeps me going because it gives that sense of responsibility, right? And our impact so far, relating it to the academy which I'm running, our impact so far, we started officially though, we started officially, that was June last year, 2024, and we've been able to train a number of people across three African countries: Nigeria,
wow.
Cameroon, and Uganda. And even before then, we had people. The way the vision started, this is not the podcast for that, anyways, but the way it started, we had people who were already willing to have their internships with us, though that was unofficial. We had not started officially then. So we've had people run internships with us, and they've gone back to their school, defended the internship, came out with good grades. We've trained people as well. We've had programs, we've had events where we've physical events where we've gone to talk about cloud computing, bring more people to know about the field. More than 30 people have come to know about the field from these physical events that we've had. And there's still so much more that we are doing, because the goal is that we have a lot of people know about the field, but not just know about the field. They build relevant skills in the field, and they become people who, when cloud computing comes fully into Africa, we have Africans that can offer these skills, so that an African company is not just waiting for somebody from the US to work, but we have Africans who know these skills and are willing to offer these skills. I tell my students something and I say, don't just learn. Don't just learn because you want to earn, but learn because you want to solve a problem. And in solving the problem, you are earning, right? So let the mentality not just be on the money alone. Think about the money, beautiful, but also think about solving a problem. Because the reason how, or the way you were able to learn, is because there's an opportunity that somebody saw. He's solving a problem, he started or she started an academy. That's she solving a problem there. So if you have come to learn, also think, what is the next problem I can solve? How can I make Africa better? Right. So yeah.
Wow. That's a focus, and that's a passion, and that's an impact that we don't see in many places. Your focus and being like direct on making sure that these tech talents, they can help the continent, they can uplift the continent. That's is it goes beyond the normal learning of a tech skill. It goes more into identifying key areas, and then knowing how to genuinely propose solutions to problems that we face. So that has been nice. I would like to say it's been such an amazing time with you, and we are coming to the close, and we are almost at the close. And the next question I would like to ask you is, okay, what are the future projections, of cloud with Ant? But you've already said something similar to that. But let me project for you, let me project for you, and then you can take it as a vision or as a way to scale. I would like to say,
Feel
I would
free.
like to see your academy, your own startup. I would like to see it produce uh the next leaders of like indigenous cloud computing in Africa. Let's say that when we're talking about data centers for Africa, virtualization of high-end machines for Africa, hypervisors, whatever it is, let cloud with that be the go-to place that people can say, okay, this is where they are training people to develop the next generation of
Yeah.
cloud computing, of data centers in Africa. That is my own projection for you. You can have your own projection for yourself, but please do my own for me, because this is out there in the. And I'll come back to you and ask you that, okay, I gave you a projection. Did you do it? Did you go there? Are you thinking of going there? What are the challenges? But notwithstanding, I would like to say it's been good having you over here, and I'm very glad. I'm very happy, when I see young people who do not care about the challenges being faced in their communities. Young people who have taken it upon themselves, to do something, to be that entrepreneur by necessity, to make that change, to enforce that change. And you are one of them. And I would like to say it was nice having you on this podcast. And any words of
Pleasure is all mine.
inspiration or motivational speech. Africans like being motivated, for the young African population.
So one thing that I want to say, I'm not going to say something long at all, because I know that we've heard a lot of things. Different people, when you go on Instagram now, you find different people saying different things. LinkedIn, a lot of motivation is everywhere, right? But what I want to say is, do it afraid and start now. Do it
Wow.
afraid and start
Start
now.
now.
Yes.
Do it afraid and start now. That's gonna be the post and the caption when this episode is posted. So
For sure.
thank you. I would like to say thank you very much. And for us, we like
Thank
to call it a
you,
wrap.
William.
Thank you for educating people. Thank you for inspiring people. Thank you for communicating with people. That is what we are all about here. So, till some other time, we hope to have you another time on the show. So, from us and from others listening all around the globe, it's a wrap. Thank you, Anne.
Thank you, Williams. Bye, everyone. Thank you for having me.